Does it feel like you're left with $0 at the end of each month? Are you constantly trying to stretch each dollar just a little bit further? I know I am. Well, stick with me to the end of this video and maybe you'll have a few extra dollars left in your pocket. Hello everyone and welcome back to the Windscreen channel. Thanks for being here with me and I hope you're having a great day. On today's video, we're going to cover a topic that is near and dear to many people, especially used car buyers, and that's how to stretch that dollar just a little bit further. As most of you know, buying a car, whether new or used, is usually most people's second biggest expense after paying for a place to live. So it makes sense that most people look for ways to stretch that hard-earned dollar just a little bit further, especially when making big purchases, because we got to look out for number one, right? Windscreen is not here just to provide a superior marketplace. We're here to make sure you have all the information you need to make a wise car buying or selling decision. So how can you possibly save a few hundred or a few $1,000s when buying a used vehicle while still getting everything you want or need in a reliable platform? No, you don't have to settle for a rust bucket or a car that's missing a bunch of body panels like these just to save a few dollars. And no, you don't have to drive a car with no heat or no AC just to make next month's rent. You might be surprised that even today, there are some simplish ways to save a few dollars while buying a used car and still getting everything that you want or need. Now, these tips aren't 100% always guaranteed. Nothing in life is. But more often than not, you'll save a few dollars. So stick with me. Now, if you're in the market for a good used pickup, and a lot of people are, maybe mid-size like a Frontier or full-size like an F-150 or larger, there still are a few ways you can save some money. If you don't really need a four-wheel drive truck, then there's no real reason to spend the additional $2,000 to $5,000 up front for a four-wheel drive if all you're doing is hauling the occasional bag of trash or getting a load of mulch once a year. A two-wheel drive truck will do that just fine. And as a side benefit, quite often, two-wheel drive trucks have a higher load capacity. That's due to those trucks not having the four-wheel drive components that are heavy. So not only is a two-wheel drive truck sometimes more capable, it's usually cheaper. So a win-win. Another thing that most people don't know or don't care about is that body color, especially on trucks, can and usually does make a pretty big difference in price. The louder and more aggressive colors tend to be a bit cheaper. And if you look around in the real world when you're sitting in traffic, you'll see far more white, gray, dark gray, black pickup trucks than you'll see bright red or bright blue or yellow. The more in-your-face colors aren't as popular new or used. So if you don't really care about the color of the vehicle, and let's face it, the color doesn't really affect the reliability, the dependability, or actually being used as a truck. So if you don't care about the color, and all you care about is getting a truck to do truck stuff, then maybe a fire engine red or electric blue truck is for you. The money that you save will still be green. And one last thing about trucks, most people prefer short bed pickup trucks. And that's because in reality, they're not really doing truck stuff on a daily basis. They're buying them for a variety of other reasons. So that's what most manufacturers produce is the short beds. But long beds are still around and they're usually cheaper. So if you're actually buying a truck to do truck stuff or you don't care either way, check out some long beds and you'll probably save some money. And even better, a two-wheel drive long bed pickup truck is probably the most capable pickup truck for doing daily hauling and pulling duties. And it's usually the cheapest version. So if you want to actually do truck stuff and you want to save some money, check out a two-wheel drive long bed. Who would have thought that the most capable pickup truck is the cheapest? On to our next insight here. We've mentioned this before in a full-length video, but a great way to save a few bucks and to make sure your power doesn't get cut off this month is to buy a car with a rebuilt title. I won't go into much detail here, but you can check out our latest video about this very thing if you want to learn more about buying a rebuilt title and what the ins and outs are. But long story short, the car was wrecked. It was processed by insurance. Someone could fix it. It was fixed. and it was checked out by the DMV, and it was issued a rebuilt title, and then it's sold off to the general public. These cars, usually just as safe as a new one and function just the same as a new one, can cost thousands less than a car with a regular title. Now, a rebuilt title isn't for everyone and does require a little bit of extra legwork. You need to make sure you're straight with the DMV, you understand your state and local titling methods, and you check with your insurance company to make sure that a car with a rebuilt title can be insured. But it might be worth it to save a few extra dollars with just a little bit extra legwork, and you'll have money to eat at the end of the month. Now, I will say more and more cars are getting issued rebuilt titles these days because there's the super overly complex systems, part prices, and parts availability. Now, these cars can sometimes be totaled out with just a few crunched headlights and a crunched bumper, but once they're fixed, usually with the aftermarket parts, but they'll function just good as new and quite often be a few $1,000s less or even more than a car with a regular title. So getting a car with a rebuilt title and driving it till the wheels fall off for the second time could be the move. Now, our third topic here is a big one, and it's focusing on exactly what you need. Now, this is a tough one for many, especially in the United States where image is everything. But give it some thought. Do you really need a crossover or a four-wheel drive pickup just to drive to work every day or take your kids to school every day? Or would a sedan, front-wheel drive most likely serve that purpose just fine? Do your parents or friends have a pickup truck you can use when you need a load of mulch once a year? Is all-wheel drive really necessary where you live? It usually isn't. Good tires and defensive driving can get most drivers through any conditions in most of the United States. And all-wheel drive wouldn't have helped here. If you just need a simple daily driver that will get you to work or school dependably, and let's face it, that's what most people need, now won't, but need, then focus your search on cars, coupes and sedans, depending on whether you need 4 doors or 2 doors. And as a side benefit, coupes and sedans, general base model cars, have not been popular with the general buying public for a decade or more now. So that can really help you out. Many makes and models can be quite reliable and cost much less up front than crossovers or off-roady SUVs. And as a side benefit, they're usually cheaper to maintain and they get better miles per gallon too. Even some older luxury makes like Lexus and Acura can be great buys. They're basically just rebranded Toyotas and Hondas, and they don't cost that much more than their counterparts to keep mechanically sound. And they look great too. Now, like with all used cars, there are certain makes and models and years and whatever that can have issues. So that's where doing your homework up front, and we've mentioned this before, it's always a good idea to do your homework up front to check out any major issues with certain year ranges and certain models. So as long as you do your homework and root out some of the bigger issues, a good used sedan or coupe can really save you some money in the long run. But make sure that you buy a good one up front, or do your best about going up front, get it inspected if you can, so any saved money up front is not eaten away with huge repair bills. You've got things like CVTs, early active fuel management, cylinder deactivation issues on some makes and models, weak transmissions, and obsolete or hard to get body parts can cause issues if you ever have repairs to do or if you're getting a wreck. But thankfully, those issues affect a large swath of the population and lots of the models. So understanding those problems and avoiding those problems is pretty easy to do. Just do some research, ask around, and you should be able to avoid any major headaches in the future. And even if you do need a pickup truck, the aforementioned two-wheel drive is obviously cheaper, but also keep in mind trim levels. If you're just buying a truck to work, a XL or an XLT or a work truck, whatever, will do the same amount of truck work that a Platinum or Denali will do. And you'll definitely save many thousands of dollars by opting for a lower trim level. And also, that's all that really matters. You're buying a truck to work, not to impress anybody. No one really cares. And that brings me to our last one here, and this can really save you some hard-earned dough. When you're out shopping, You can maybe look for cars that have dents and dings, but are still mechanically sound and still have a clean title to really save some of your hard-earned dollars. Things like light hail damage. Maybe the car is missing or it's got a scratched bumper cover. Maybe there's a dent in the door. Maybe there's a few scratches that may be slightly rusting. Maybe you've got a mismatched body panel due to a parking lot dent or ding. But you still got a clean title and the car is still mechanically sound and it drives great and you verified all of this via the checklists. That can be a great deal. And you're still having a fantastic vehicle to get you from point A to point B. And that's all that really matters. This is not the time to be worried about making a statement with your nice new car if you're trying to save just a few enough dollars to put food on the table for your kids this week. It doesn't matter if you're driving around with a car with a missing rear bumper cover. All the cosmetics can be fixed later as you get to work every day reliably and you save up some money. Then you can worry about looking good. Impressing your coworkers, if that's what you want to do, can come later. The biggest thing here when you see a car with some dents and dings and maybe a little bit of small crash damage is to check out the Carfax and see if that accident was reported to the Carfax. Because if you ever do want to sell the vehicle, a reported accident can lower the value of the car. So if you're trying to keep that car for a short amount of time or you're doing a flip or whatever you're trying to do, obviously people are still trying to do that even when they're trying to stretch some dollars. Maybe you're buying and selling cars to make extra dollars. Make sure that the car still has the proper title, designation, and if you worry about a potential value degradation in the future, make sure that wreck or hail damage or whatever wasn't reported to the Carfax and it still has a clean bill of health if you plan on fixing it. But whatever you do, if you're buying a car with some dents and dings and hail damage or whatever, still make sure that the airbags and the seat belts and the tires and the brakes and all the mechanical safety things are still in good working order, because for sure it's not worth saving a few $100s to sacrifice your family's safety. And this brings me back to what I've said before in this video and in previous videos. And it's generally true in every aspect of life, including buying a used car. Not trying to be the flashiest and the coolest and the newest can really save some serious money and help you save some money pretty quickly for things that really matter. The flashiest wheels and the highest trim level of your vehicle will never impress anyone that really matters. And for sure, those things won't make you live any longer. And P.S., I almost forgot. It's never a bad idea to follow our used car buying checklist so you're not left with problems in the future that snatch away all those saved dollars and you're back to pinching pennies. There's a link to a complete and thorough checklist in the description below, so check it out. So thanks for watching to the end of this video. And if any of this information helped you, please like and subscribe. It really does help us out. And don't forget, we still have some stickers left for all new subscribers, so get to it. Thanks and have a great day, and we'll see you soon.